Hey guys, today I'm reacting to another suggestion video. This is actually going to be called Why Did So Many Muslims Fight for Germany in World War II? So again, I've seen videos like this in the past, kind of like about like World War II, World War One, or the fallen of World War One, or stuff like that. So this is just answering a simple question: why did so many Muslims fight for Germany in World War II? Which, I mean, that seems like a reasonable question because I don't know anything about anything, like history, anything like that. So it's a nice little history lesson. I'm not too fond of history, but, you know, I don't mind learning about it or like hearing about it, you know. This was a suggestion. I have no idea by who, so I'm not going to put any more until... I'm not going to really put this a suggestion anymore just because it takes way too much time to find. But obviously the person that suggested it, you know who you are. And from now on, if you guys want to suggest something, please just message me on Instagram at Damian, which is just my name, a lowercase letters, and no space. And then you'll find me. Yeah, this is just over 10 minutes, so let's go.
When people think of World War II, Islam is not generally on the list of things that come to mind. Nonetheless, Muslims actually played a particularly important role in the war and became a significant focus of Germany. In the words of the German Chancellor himself, the people of Islam will always be closer to us than, for example, France. To understand the Chancellor's position on Islam requires some backgrounds pertaining to his general religious views, and thereby those of Germany as a World War II power. Because you are our subscriber, you should definitely check out our sponsor over at Squarespace. This incredible website builder includes so many features like easy link to all social media platforms, support for podcasts, integrated analytics, but also mailing lists and email campaigns. Regardless of your future projects, having a
just to mute that for a second. I probably don't know how much I'm going to say to this, just because I really don't know much about World War II as it is, so if I don't say much, that's why.
To build a beautiful online presence, and to do so, you don't need specific skills in building a website. For that, Squarespace has you covered, allowing anyone to very quickly design a well-structured, beautiful, and easy-to-navigate platform. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Knowledgia to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. To a milder degree, of course. The leader of the Third Reich held a strong disdain for Christianity as well, especially the Catholic Church, viewing both religions as weak, absurd, and unrealistic, even though Germany was a Christian nation and Christianity was a part of the European culture. A hatred towards the corruption of the Catholic Church existed. As Germany moved to expand rapidly, it inevitably found itself facing the Balkans and moving closer to the Middle East. This subsequently brought the Axis power into direct engagement with the Muslim world, promptly making the German Chancellor's religious opinions exceedingly significant. There were two obvious options for Germany: risk the Muslim nations becoming added opposition, or make them into allies. Choosing the latter, the German leaders began to court the people of Islam through propaganda and advantageous policies, utilizing an assortment of strategies to politicize the Muslims' faith in hopes of winning over their support. German propagandists went as far as exploiting the concept of jihad and the sacred texts of the Quran. One pamphlet dropped over North Africa by the Germans described the tale of an evil king, King Dajjal, from Islamic tradition. This king is said to have led 70,000 Jews from Isfahan and into battle in the world's final days against Isa, the Muslim prophet associated with Jesus. Although in this case, the prophet was said to be the German Chancellor himself. A plethora of pamphlets like this were created by the Germans in their determined attempts to recruit as many followers of Islam as they could. In addition to these propaganda-style strategies, Germany also enacted a new set of policies relating to the treatment of Muslims within its military. By 1941, the German Army, Navy, and Air Force began to distribute a handbook simply titled Islam to its troops, in order to clearly instruct them on how they should behave towards all Muslims. Furthermore, Muslims in the Wehrmacht were also granted religious freedoms, most remarkably doing away with the previously imposed ban on ritual slaughter, which had been created as a byproduct of anti-Semitism in 1933. Reaching even further on the Eastern Front, the Germans ordered the reconstruction of a collection of mosques, madrasas, and prayer halls that had been destroyed by the Soviet Union prior to German occupation.
Yeah, at the moment I have nothing to say.
Both a deed of defiance
to me, this is just a bunch of like big words, and I'm kind of like, what?
Another potential sign of unity that the Germans likely noted came in the form of shared enemies. As stated by Jerusalem's Grand Mufti, Haj Amin el-Husseini, the Germans and Arabs were, in fact, unintentionally on the same side, considering their mutual oppositions to other ethnicities and forms of government. The Arab Muslims were more focused on their disapproval of the British and French colonizers, and the Jews in Palestine specifically. Nonetheless, the Grand Mufti considered the Arabs to be natural friends of Germany, truly believing in their ability to win the war and benefit his own nation. It is important to remember, though, that Germany's views at the time of racial purity and superiority were in direct contradiction of its decision to recruit and befriend the Arab and Muslim worlds. Interestingly, instead of addressing the inconsistency, Germany chose to heighten it by declaring certain groups such as the Turks, the Muslims of Bosnia, and the Grand Mufti himself to be honorary Aryans. Considering the fact that not all Muslims and Arabs would fall for the Germans' propaganda, contradiction, and violently anti-Semitic beliefs, the question still remains as to what drove such confident recruitment of Islam's followers. The answer to this one may be found a couple of decades prior. At the start of World War I, Germany became extremely interested in Islam, seeing the Muslims as the key to victory against the Triple Entente. The Germans attempted to spark Muslim revolts against the French and British colonial powers. One German diplomat, Max von Oppenheim, even described Islam as one of their most important weapons, following up this claim by asserting that Britain, France, and the Russians were the oppressors of Islam. Unfortunately for Germany, they never accounted for the brewing Arab uprising against the Ottoman Empire, which allowed France and Britain the opportunity to swoop in and appease the revolting Muslims and eventually split the previously Turkish-controlled Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Iraq between themselves, as well as awarding Russia with Armenia at the Sykes-Picot Agreement of May 1916. Ultimately, the Germans utterly failed to rally Muslim support in the First World War, but their attempt to do so again with the hope for more success comes as less of a surprise, despite the contemporary racial beliefs by the time of World War II. Jumping back ahead to the Second World War, Himmler stated that he had no issue with Islam because of its promises when it came to martyrdom, and he believes that it was a very practical religion for soldiers. Given that the Chancellor himself also respected the Muslims' faith for similar reasons, it is safe to assume that there was strongly pragmatic reasons behind everything the Germans did in their plea for Muslim support. Of course, having additional allies served as the obvious purpose, and it is incredibly likely that there was also an aim to use as many foreign soldiers as possible to avoid more German casualties. Moreover, Germany could not afford to deal with the unrest caused by an added enemy or the territories they sought to occupy. By enticing the Muslim world into either aligning with or at least not opposing them, the Germans would have a better chance at smooth expansion and pursuit of the larger war at hand. By the end, tens of thousands of Muslims had been recruited by the German army, and those who joined fought on all fronts. One setback came during the German invasion of Russia, though, when thousands of Muslims were executed. Some Muslims even chose to simply side with the Allies instead, with roughly 230,000 coming from North Africa alone joining the Free French. Even more fought for Britain. About 9,000 Palestinian Muslims, at least 500,000 Indian Muslims, and additional Muslim groups from regions reaching all the way to South Asia were unfazed by the Axis propaganda and instead picked the Allies. An underwhelming number fought for the Germans in comparison, but they were still able to form the 13th Waffen Mountain Division. It was made up of predominantly Bosnian Muslims who were charged with the duty of restoring order to Yugoslavia. although they faced their own mutiny before the soldiers' training process had even ended. While the Germans were able to squash this rebellion and salvage the division, it still serves as another hint at Germany's failure to once again utilize Islam as a powerful force against their enemies during wartime. Despite the fact that the German goals to recruit mass amounts of Muslim troops more or less paled in comparison to the numbers of those who decided to fight for the Allies, it was only a partial failure, as they did manage to enlist some, especially because a large part of the Muslim world was under the colonial powers of France and Great Britain. The role of France and Britain as colonial powers likely helped drastically to undermine Germany's propaganda and recruitment techniques, given the fact that the Allies had a much more authoritative presence in the region. Nonetheless, the Muslim world played an integral role in the events of the Second World War from both a political and military standpoint, and on both sides of the conflict. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsor.
Okay, so obviously this explains, like, really in-depth, like, history-wise how it all went down. To me, what I've kind of gathered is, like, obviously Germany just asked for help, tried to, like, convince them to help, and then the Muslims or Islam did. And then I think that and then they thought that it would also benefit them, I think they said. Because, like, generally, it just kind of says, yeah, like, it's, they basically just help because they wanted help. Like, I mean, obviously it goes, like, more in depth than that and stuff. Like, I'm not, again, like, I don't mind watching these like, history videos, but it's really hard for me to, like, understand and take it all in, especially when they talk so quickly, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. And plus, me being tired all the time does not really help. I feel like looking at a screen for so long is, like, just makes you want to fall asleep. Which is why during some long videos I'm kind of, like, always, like, rubbing my eyes just to, like, kind of, like, keep myself awake, even if the video is entertaining. It seems that I'm kind of, like, half asleep or something, so I'm not doing it to, like, you know, of course I want to give the best reaction I can, but, like, when it comes to, like, history stuff, I'm really bad at reacting, because, like, it goes, like, so far in depth about this and Islam and religion, and I'm just like, this is not my forte whatsoever. So, I mean, although it was nice to watch a little, like, history video lesson, I feel like I didn't really obtain anything, because I feel like it's just too much for me to, like, try to, like, take in. I don't know. Sorry if I feel stupid. Well, I am stupid, but especially when it comes to, like, stuff like this, like, I'm really bad with, like, geography, and I'm really bad. So that's all I'm going to say to that. I hope you guys did enjoy this somewhat video of a reaction. If you guys have any other videos that you want me to see, feel free to recommend them just over Instagram, and I'll react to them eventually. Just again, if it's, like, history-wise, don't expect me to say too much, because, like, half the time I barely understand it. And of course, if I barely understand it, then I'm not really going to have much to say about it, and then I feel bad because it's kind of like a trash video. But if you guys want me to react to it, I will. It's just that, like, I don't really know much about World War I, World War II, like, the World Wars, anything, like, history related. Like, I can't really tell you much about the Holocaust. I can't tell you much about, like, what are they called, like a residential schools or something. I think that was in Canada. I cannot tell you much about any kind of history, so I'm, like, really bad with that stuff. The only reason I know that stuff even exists is just because of, like, class that I've had recently in college. But that's still kind of in my head, but everything else is kind of a 1 year out the other. So I'm sorry if I didn't really say much, but I hope you guys somewhat tried to enjoy this video at least. But yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions, just please let me know, and I'll react to them soon. Obviously I have a lot of videos ahead. And at the moment, I'm not really doing anything in order, like I said. You know, because, like, I do have numbers for all these videos, but, like, I have one that's not, like, 34, and then I have one number 12 that I should have reacted to first, you know. So it's just all over the place at the moment, which I'm pretty sure you guys don't mind. I'm pretty sure you guys are just happy I'm back. So that's obviously good, but yeah, I'll get to your suggestions soon. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like this video. And again, if you have any comments, just let me know in the comments below. But again, if you have any suggestions, please let me know on Instagram. At Damian, no space, no capitals, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.